Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Chamala Selapera, working as an Associate QA Architect at 99X, and I will be your moderator for today's session. And I'm delighted to have Tharindra Jayamaha, Director, Product Quality at 99X, for joining this session. Beyond Code, Voice Your Test with Playwright MCP. Let me give a brief introduction about Tharindra first. Tharindra is a seasoned quality engineering leader with over 15 years of experience in IT industry. As the director of product quality at 99X, he leads the quality engineering department, driving strategic quality initiatives across the team. He's a passionate advocate for elevating QA beyond traditional testing. He actively contributes to industry as a general council member of Slascom, and he is one of the co-founder of Colombo Quality Camp. With extensive experience working with international customers and managing offshore teams and fostering culture of quality, Tharindra is committed to transforming QA into strategic enablers of product success. Tharindra, it's wonderful to have you here.
Hi, Shravan.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shravan, for the introduction.
Right. So this is how the next hour is going to look like. So Tharindra will take us into the Playwright MCP and how we can leverage it for the testing, along with few interesting demonstrations. And finally, we will wrap up with the live Q&A session. So feel free to drop your question in the chat as we go. So before we start, Tharindra, I have to ask this question. So what is going to happen to quality engineering with all this recent development in the AI space? What is your thought on that?
That's a common question, Chamal, that we used to get from everyone in the industry in quality. What will happen to QA engineers with the advancement of AI? The things are coming to space, and you see that some roles, the human roles, are getting replaced with agents, and things are getting advanced, and you see that manual intervention is very less. The question from QA engineers is that, okay, what will happen to us? Will we kind of, the role of QA will be obsolete or something getting diminished? But I would say the things are getting evolved, right? So if you look back the few months back, you see you might notice the things are not the same the six months back, and now things are getting evolved gradually. So I would say that the QA engineer role is also something getting evolved. So we have to get adapted with the technology and the tools and everything. The moment you get reluctant to adaptation, then you will become obsolete. But when you are kind of recognizing, okay, look, I need to be adapted with the technologies and I need to improve my skill set and get adapted with that. And then, because some people think that, okay, I will do my job and I don't want to go beyond this. Then that is the place that you are going to giving up and becoming obsolete. So I think QA engineer role is not getting basically obsolete. It's kind of evolved. And with the advancement of AI agents, Chamal, you will see that most of the tasks now that we have given into the agents to execute. This is where you need kind of the very good verification or quality process in order to make sure that AI agents are doing a kind of a quality work with accuracy. Because you know that there can be false positive, false negative. So I would see the role of QA engineer will be more important with the kind of intervention of AI agents, where you need to kind of verify the output that they produce. So when you have proper tools and techniques and everything with you to do that task, you will be most important.
Thanks, Tharindra, for that interesting thoughts. So that actually prompts me to ask another question in a different area. So the UI test automation has also significantly improved in recent years, from smart controllers to self-healing test, low-code solution, low-code tools. So how do you view this evolution, and where do you think things are moving in future?
Yeah. So if I may kind of show it in a graphical kind of way of interpretation, Jamal. So you will see how the journey started, the UI test automation. It started with a lot of effort, where you had to write the frameworks, you have to write the methods and the actions and everything you have to define from the scratch. Then where it came the low code or no code, where low code, most of the things are predefined, methods and the framework and even the actions. You just need some knowledge of coding, where you can just modify them, customize accordingly. And when it comes to no code automation, where you will see that things are like record and playback and everything is there. You don't need any coding knowledge, where anyone who has a business domain knowledge, you can use this tool to automate the journey, basically. Then the things got evolved, and then there it came AI assisting, where you will see that AI is playing a major role. Like, it helped us to do the self-healing, detecting anomalies and flaky test cases, and kind of giving you an insight of some scenarios. And then it helped, like a Copilot, where it assisted you to troubleshoot things and help you to debug things faster and give the fixes. With the advancement of AI agents, we are very different from the co-pilots, where you are offloading a lot of your repetitive tasks to them. And instead of having an automation engineer, the AI agent will act as an engineer and helping you to do the automation part. Where I would say there are many advancement or the advantages helping getting the help from AI agents, where you will see that it helps you to kind of, when you give the requirements, it automatically generates the test cases. And then it has the capability to run parallel tests in different environments and detect anomalies and self-healing. And it can do more proper improvement on test coverage. When you give the areas that the developer has changed, the code changes, then the risk areas, then it detects from the suite, okay, which areas should I run in the automation suite to make sure that most of the impacted areas are covered. And not only giving the test results, with the involvement of AI agents, it can interpret the results, where it suggests changes, where it gives you kind of insight on what has happened, any risks, or any possible issues. Everything will be highlighted. So you will see the most of the decision parts and the things are kind of getting, or the repetitive tasks are getting offloaded from human, like the automation engineers, and automation engineers are getting more time to do strategic part. Yes, so I hope, Chamal, that I answered your question through the diagram.
Indeed, Tharindra, I think, like you said, things are moving into a very interesting dimension. So looking forward to listen to your thoughts on the Playwright MCP and the session. Over to you.
Thank you, Chamal. Yeah. Okay. So as the title says, Playwright MCP. So before starting with this, I think there are engineers, leads joining from different knowledge levels. In order to make sure that we are on the same page before starting, let me start with MCP. What is MCP? This is something you mostly hear these days, Model Context Protocol. So in order to make sure you understand what is MCP is, so it's like an open protocol that standardizes how application provide context to learn that large language models, LLMs. The common example they always take to explain what is an MCP, it acts like a USB-C port. You know that previously we had specific chargers for mobile phones, like iPhones had a different one, the Samsung and all the devices had their different chargers. But after universal way of charging USB-C, you can, it's like that, just as a USB provides standardized way to connect your devices to various peripherals and accessories, MCP provides a standardized way to connect AI models to different data sources and tools. If you may ask, what is Playwright MCP? I would say Playwright MCP acts as a bridge, allowing LLMs or other agents to communicate or control a web browser, specifically a Playwright managed web browser using structured commands. If you are going to do automation using Playwright, you know that the traditional way is that you go and try or type commands, or you do the record and playback, and you write the commands and you run it. But using Playwright MCP, you can give the commands in the natural language without using jargons, right? How does Playwright work? There are two ways. Playwright MCP works. There are two ways how Playwright MCP works. The first way, or the default way, is snapshot mode, and the second way is vision mode. Snapshot mode is, if I may explain what is snapshot mode, it's kind of this is the core invention of Playwright MCP. Instead of seeing a page as a human or a vision-based AI, it requires browsers accessibility tree. So it's like a textual accessibility tree where you can see the headers, and inside that components, and the forms, and inside the forms, the text fields, dropdowns, and everything as a hierarchy in a structured presentation as texts. So it has everything there. So the advantages of using snapshot mode of Playwright MCP is basically it is fast and lightweight. Mainly because the page structure, you are accessing it as a textual tree, and that LLMs can access it and understand it clearly. As I mentioned, LLM friendly. And it is deterministic, where less prone to errors, and you can find elements very easily. The disadvantages are there can be websites do not have proper accessibility tree. That the elements are not correctly defined. So whenever those kind of issues are there, Playwright MCP find it difficult to interact with elements. As an example, when you say log into this site, then it opens the site and they check for the link login button. So likewise, if you haven't properly given text labels and everything there, then the MCP find it difficult to detect the elements in the page. The vision mode, in the other hand, is the traditional way of how automation frameworks worked previously, the visual mode of interpretation. Here, it takes a screenshot of the current screen, and then it interacts with the components by XY coordinates. The advantages of using the vision mode in your test suite is basically in case if your website do not have proper accessibility tree and elements are not properly defined, then visual mode might be very useful for them. And basically the disadvantage is it's very slow, because you have to capture the screen, and kind of you need to have more processing power to go through pixels and find the XY coordinates, right? Keeping the technical parts apart, let's get into the demonstration. So I think rather than me explaining what is already available and you can go through, let's see some simple examples how Playwright works. Yeah, the first thing, how we can set up Playwright MCP. Let me start with that. Right. So if you go to GitHub Playwright MCP repo, you can directly see the instructions. So so they had mentioned the instructions for each IDE that you use, like VS Code, Cursor, Windsurf, Claude, Desktop. You can select whatever the IDE that you are currently using and get the instructions how you can install. I'm today going to do the demos using Visual Code. So I will show you how we can set up Playwright MCP using Visual Code, VS Code. Yeah, so it's a very easy one. So you can just click here, and if you have already installed VS Code in your machine, you should be able to get VS Code. Just click Install Server. This will add a kind of a code snippet in your settings file. So I have already done it. Since I have done it, I will not go through the install server. So you can make sure the things are installed by going to File, Preferences, Settings. And when you open Settings, you can see my Playwright server, and it has started and running. You can restart or stop. And I have 25 Playwright commands readily available for me to automate. Right, that is simple as that, setting up Playwright MCP with your IDE. Now the next step is, let's try out with some easy part of automation using natural language using GitHub Agent Chat. Okay, so I have opened GitHub Copilot. So in order to do this, second, I close down these windows, right? Okay. When you open the Copilot, you have few modes. You have to go to the agent mode, and you can select the models. I am using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, but there's a latest version available. But since I was kind of working with 3.7 Sonnet, I will be demonstrating that. If you may ask, out of GPT-4 and GPT-4.1 on Claude, which one is better? What I have noted is that Claude is best for these kind of actions. And I saw that the accuracy is very high when you're using Claude 3.7 for this. Okay, the time for me to do a quick automation part. Let's start from GitHub. Okay. Now, assume that you have a scenario where you want to go to GitHub, Playwright repo, and then go to issues. And let's say you want to find a particular item and check status, right? So my status, my steps are, I need to go to the Playwright repo and go to the issues and search whether there's an issue called Chrome is being controlled by automated test software, and then check the status of it. A simple step. Let me. Right. Okay. Now, how does this work? You go to the tools section of the chat Copilot agent. You can see the different. Yeah. You can find different tools available. Out of that, you should be able to see Playwright MCP. Yeah, here MCP server Playwright. Now, these are the actions you can perform using Playwright MCP. You can do clicks, you can do close in browser, then get console messages, mouse drag, upload files. Likewise, there are so much of things you can do. Navigate to a URL, go back forward, and save as a PDF. And resize the browser window, taking the page snapshot. I mentioned about snapshot before, that it takes the accessibility tree. You can anytime take the snapshot of it. And then take a screenshot. You can get the current screenshot and save it in a temporary folder. So likewise, there are so many Playwright actions available. So out of this, I'm going to use this. Navigate to this. Go to Issues tab. Search for the issue. Then I'm giving the issue I want to find. Okay. Okay. Yes. I want to find this and the status. Check the status of the issue. So this is a simple action I wanted it to do for me. Okay, now it has detected Playwright MCP server to be used for the action. Now it's installing the browser. I have already done it. Now the next action is it wants to navigate to the URL. First, it almost done. We are navigate to the desired page. We want to go to step. Let's see how it detects the issues. I think since I am connected and streaming at the same time, the workflow has become a bit slow. Pardon me for that. With the network bandwidth, I think it's getting a little bit slower. Now it's it did. And then the next action is it needs to check for issue called Chrome is being controlled by automators. I haven't mentioned him that you have to go mention MCP server that you have to go and search for it. I mean, click on the search bar and click search button. I haven't given any action. Let's see how does it do. So it detected you need to go and type the text in the search bar in order to do that. Okay, the attempt failed, so it will retry. I will switch off my camera for a moment to make it bandwidth listen. So you see that it has the ability to try out different approaches in case if one action does not work. Okay, it found. Now I can see the issue about Chrome is being controlled by automated software in the search resource. Let me click on it. So it goes and click on it. Okay, it went. Now it checks the status. Yeah. Okay. So since that most of the things are working, I will go to the next step. Okay. Let me close the browser. Now I have full details about the issue. Yeah. Okay. So like that, using the agent, in the chat mode, you can mention your steps and it will help you to automate the things that you want. Now, you can't keep on typing things in the chat. It's a kind of a cumbersome task. So you see that, okay, it has summarized what I have asked, and then it gives me a kind of a description of what it is. Right. Now you can't keep on typing things in the chat window, where you need to find a way how you can keep these prompts documented somewhere and then let the agent to read it from the prompts and do the actions, right? Let's do it. My next demonstration I would like you to take you through is that moving tests into prompts and using MD files. Let's take another example. Let me switch off my camera again. I will open a folder. Okay, now I'm going to create an ID file. Let's say test suit.md. So markdown language. It will help me to kind of give the instructions to the Copilot. Let's do it. I have already prepared my script. So let me show you this slide. Okay. So what I want to automate is basically I want to navigate to this site and go to tablet section and then specifically select this Elite pad tablet and then check the price. That is the first test case. And the second test case, I want to navigate to the speakers and then check for the product, something called raw mini wireless speaker, and check the price, right? Like you are training an intern, you have to train the agent. In order to train the agent, you have to give proper instructions. If you are going to take all of your commands into an MD file, what you need to do first is that you have to have proper instructions so agent will know how to do this, right? So I am instructing the agent saying that you are a test case executor. Your task is to execute test case. Basically, I am defining his role. Then you are executing the test cases given in the test suite section. So basically, you need to execute these two test cases under the test suite section, right? Run each step in the test case using Playwright MCP. So I am giving the command how you should run them. And I am giving instruction if any test step fails or verification is failed, then consider as that entire test case is failed. So basically assume that it fails from the third step, then consider this entire test case as failed. Once the test case execution is done, go to the next test case. So you have to give instructions one by one, like you are giving instruction to someone who is new to this. And then once it is done, once all the test cases are run, generate a report in HTML format and include all the necessary information it should have for a test execution report. So I want to finally create a report. Now, to make it easy and to see how it shows pass and fail scenarios, I will change this value a bit. Actually, the value is $44.99. I make it $45.99. So then what will happen is it should mark this test case as failed. Let's see how Copilot will run this. So clear instructions and the test suits are given. So it is referring the test suite MD file. First, it checks whether the browser is installed. So it explains what does it gonna do. It opens the browser. So it takes a snapshot. I said it identifies the elements using snapshots. So for it took a snapshot to identify the page structure. It's waiting for the things are loaded. Then it will take a snapshot. Okay, it detected tablets. The first test case was to go to tablets. It detected it. So it waits for the entire page to be loaded. Now it's checked for the specific tablet version I have mentioned in the test case. Okay, it says he can see the iPad. Then it clicked on it and it checks the price now. Now I can see that price is same. See, it mentions that it finds the things are same. So it will mark it as pass and will go to the second step. Second test case basically. It marked it as pass. Now it's going to the second test case. It navigate back to the home page because I have given the first step as go back to home page. Now it detects the speakers. Done. And then looking for the specific speaker I have given. But now I have given the price as 45 in the script. Let's see what then Playwright MCP will do. So it marks the test case as failed. Now you noted it marked the first test case as passed and the second test case as failed. Now the final step, I have given an instruction. Once all the test cases are done, it should create a report. Now let's see how it creates a report. Okay, the report is created. Let's try to open it. It's running. Okay, and it gives a test case summary. And let's see how does the report looks like. I will save the report and open it in the browser. I had given only one part mention everything needed for it. So basically, you see the heading, report generated time, the total test cases, how much failed, how much passed. See the results, the fail, why it failed. Expected price to be this, but the actual price is this. Even you can ask it to add a pie chart. You can add Copilot to kind of have some trends, like looking to the past results and give a trend on the execution history. So likewise, you can do so many things from the reporting perspective as well. So if you were trying to do this directly through Playwright, it takes a lot of time for you to do. But within few minutes, you are able to write test cases and execute test cases and even you can generate a simple report which can be presented. Now, that is the simple way of doing automation. Now let's go for a kind of an advanced one where you use test data, many test suits, and some kind of high advanced test reporting, right? So let me do that. For that, I have already created a particular one, so I can show it to you. I will explain you the structure I have created. This is something I just came up with. So you can have your own structure, just get an idea what you can do from using this. So basically, what I have done is I have one, so that's why you can see one test report here. This is my main file. I called it as testrunner.md. The main file has the instructions given. So same as that I have mentioned, but many more instructions are there. So basically, I have mentioned, say if you are a test case executor, you have to run the test cases under test suite section. Now, you noted, instead of me explaining the test cases here, I have given links to the test cases. You know that whenever you are doing test suite, usually you don't mention all the test cases in one suite. There can be many test suites, right? So I have created a folder for test suites. Under that, I have test tips for each category, like registration, 2 test cases, login, 1 test case, then search perhaps 1 test cases like that. So I have done in a customized way. In kind of here you can mention kind of link. So you are getting user registration, and your user registration file is available. So you see that user registration file is available test suite section, test suits user registration. And the second test suite related to the login, the test suite test cases are under this. Then the third one, search products, it's under this. So likewise, here you have the ability to mention many test suites that you want to run and the related path, right? Then I have mentioned, okay, run step. These are the things I have explained. Okay, now I have introduced a new section called test configuration, right? So it says use the web browser mentioned in the test configuration section and execute the test cases on it. So I have a section called test configuration. Here I have mentioned which browser to test. You can mark it as Chrome or Firefox or any other browser Playwright supports, and you can let it to run on the defined browser. Then, once everything is done, create the report. Now I want to save the report in a specific folder. Previously, I saved it in the same folder. So I say, once all the test cases are run, generate a test report in HTML format under test results. So I have a folder called test results. I want to create a report there and include all the necessary information it should have for a test case report. And I have given a format how to create the test report. It says the test case execution report format should be test results, then the date it executed, and the sequence for that day. As an example, I did it once today, the first time. So it has sequence 1. Now the second one, it should have sequence 2. And I have explained what is the date. It's the current date, and the sequence is the incremental value of the sequence number in the last test report. And I wanted to add a pie chart to the test report. And I want to show the test results trend. Basically, you have the history of the previous post. If you want to show the trend, you can ask it to include a trend analysis source. And I would say make the test report user-friendly and nicely done. And finally, I want to make sure the agent does not do any Playwright scripting, because sometimes I noted when I asked agent to run this, it tried to create a Playwright script. I wanted specifically this agent not to create scripts, instead run it manually through MCP, Playwright MCP, right? And here you can note that I have mentioned the priority. So I want to run on the medium test cases. If you go to the test cases, you can see, let me take one example. So registration part, I have instructions there also. I have two sections called before each, after each. You know, if you are already doing automation, you know that we have a section called before each and after each, which will be run before running each test case and after running each test case. So I have given instruction, run before each test case section before running each test case, and run after each test case section after running each test case. So I have given instructions. So what I have mentioned on the before each is, I say always go to this website first, then only start the steps. And after finishing everything, close the browser. So which means before starting each test case, it goes to this, and after finishing it, it closes the browser. So likewise, it happens. And I have mentioned each test case the priority. As an example, under test cases, the first test case, register as a user, has a high priority. Then the second test case, validation error messages, I have the medium priority. So you have the ability to configure which test cases you want to run. So as an example, I have said run only the medium test cases. Then what will happen is agent will go through all these test cases, and out of these test cases, it will run only the medium ones. And if you mention it as all, it will run all the test cases. You see that you are able to even configure what test cases to run, what test cases not to run in the main file, right? And even in the, if you note that user registration, I just give them the step saying, register as a new user. I have given other information to be filled. So the beauty of Playwright MCP is that you don't need to mention specifically what to fill. As an example, let's go to the user registration. Create your account. You will note that there are so many fields to be filled. If you are running Playwright test, you have to mention what each field should contain. Basically, you have to add steps. But here I just give one command, register as a new user. Then Playwright will decide what names to add, what email addresses to put. So it detects each field and put meaningful names. So that take your burden of creating data. Playwright MCP will decide what data to be included, right? And even ticking these things, nothing you need to do manually, it will be automatically done. Since we have limited time, I will only run medium test case, so you can see how it works. So if I select a medium, it should run this test case from this file, and from this file, this test case, that login part. And for the user registration, registered user section maybe not run because I have marked it as high, but validation error message. I wanted to specifically check the validation errors here. So as an example, you see that validation error messages that you need to have more than 4 characters, maximum 12. It should have a lower, upper, and 1 number. So you want to check this, I can create a test case. So what I mentioned is simply I say enter characters in the password field to violate following validations and see whether the validation error message is shown. This is only what I mentioned. Now let's see how it runs. I'm going to the agent. There's a history that I have run, so I will read the history. And I mentioned, let me see. List record, so my camera. It's taking some time. 1 second. I will check again. 1 minute. Okay, seems it is taking some time for me to generate the script with the bandwidth, but let me show you meantime my previous report so you can see how it works until it works kind of. Okay, so here you see that the test execution report, it beautifully created upon my instructions. So it gives the kind of the data about the application, the browser, and the priority. So purposely I made one test case failed. So you see that there were 3 test cases, 2 passed, 1 failed. So success rate is 60.67. Can you remember I mentioned the trend? So it shows the trend from the previous runs. How does it go? Right. And then execute at 3 test cases. So how much of test cases passed? Okay. And the time it took. And then each test case section, the test step and the result. And here, test step and the results. And here, where it failed and why it failed. So basically it says expected price was this and the actual price is this. So price verification failed. You can do more enhancement where you can ask it to take a snapshot, screenshot basically. So if you want to do it, you can give a one instruction here as an example. There's a place here. If any test step fails or verification fail, then consider that test case is failed. Meantime, you can take a screenshot of the screen, right? Then it will take a screenshot. Then in the report, you can mention show the screenshots of the failed step. So you will see it's very easy, like you are giving KT to someone else what to do. You give the instructions and then it will do that, right? Yeah, so I think since we are running out of time, Chamal, with the bandwidth issue, I could not run this the entire suite, but I can make this available for the people who attended today. So then you can run and try this yourselves and see how it works. And few issues that I can mention, because you see that sometimes it takes bandwidth with the webinar. I think it kind of restricted the bandwidth, but few observations I had. Once I saw that sometimes the Copilot agent find it difficult to run some steps, so it tries reiterate the same step again and again. Then finally, it wants you to interact with it and ask you to check, okay, should I still iterate the same step or cancel it? As an example, assume you have given a prompt to click on a particular web element, and if they can't click on that web element, it tries several times, and then it prompts this basically this message asking you whether you need to continue or pause. Another issue I found is that currently it has some bandwidth and rate limits. When I do some advanced functions like taking screenshots and attaching them, that process, whenever there are rates limitations defined, sometimes you suddenly get kind of limitation error where you need to try it in few minutes or few after some time. So that issue I have got several times. And you need to make sure you define the prompts properly, because I found when I give vague prompts, it sometimes skip latest instruction. As an example, now I added a new instruction saying, take the screenshots and add it to the report. Here, then I need to specifically mention each time read these instructions again. Otherwise, what it does is it reads the instruction once and cache it and use it for the future references. So sometimes I found the latest instructions I give does not save. And the final thing is that I found that sometimes it looks into the history data and stops re-executing some test cases, assuming that it was passed. It assumes this one also it will pass. So then we need to give specific prompts asking it not to do any assumption, run it again and again. So like I have done, because I found sometimes agent try to create Playwright scripts based on the results. Then I specifically say do not create this, because otherwise it creates it. Yeah. So what I will do is I will share these repos with you, so you can try on and see how it works. And maybe you can try with your applications and see how it works for you. Over to you, Chamal, if you have any questions from the audience.
Yes, thanks, Tharindra, for that detailed explanation and the demonstration. We have very limited time, but we have a lot of questions. So let me read the questions for you, Tharindra. The first question, can Playwright MCP could be used to connect to a DB and run SQL scripts to cross-check data shown in the UI? I see that Hasit has already answered it, but for the viewers who are viewing the webinar, could you also answer it, Tharindra?
We have a separate MCP for that. I can share the link actually, which allows you to interact with the database. Maybe I have the link to that. By incorporating the MCP and the other MCP, which directly connects SQL database types, you are able to interact with databases while doing enter some data and we can check with the data has been added into the backend database. I will share the link and I'm able to chat with them. I can share this with.
Sure. Meanwhile, let's go to the next question. I think you have already briefly discussed this in your slide as well. So the question is about that Playwright MCP test execution tend to be slightly slower compared to standard test scripts that we usually write. So the question is there any way that we can optimize it?
Yes, specifically I wanted with the bandwidth, and whenever I try to do with kind of previously also I wanted to demo this to someone, that I found that whenever the bandwidth is used, it is very slow. But you can try with other IDs like Cursor and see how it. I think Cursor is a little bit faster if you try it. So you can other than the Visual Code IDE, you can try with Cursor as well. This is something that very recently Playwright introduces. So I think it will be optimized in a way. I see that there are a lot of things are getting optimized when I started this, and now I see a lot of tools are coming in. Like previously, I wanted 18 tools, now they have 25 tools included. So it's evolving, kind of getting optimized as many people are using that.
Right. Thanks, Tharindra. So the next question is, so are there any plans to support the parameterized prompts or any reusable prompts block across the test cases? So probably the Playwright roadmap may contain some ideas, but any thoughts from you on this?
To make sure that I specifically answer the question, is it like parameterization within the test scripts?
Correct.
Yeah, it was there in my suit. One second. Can you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So specifically, as an example, I want to register a user. Next, in this case, I want to use that registered user's data to log in. So what I have done is, I have created a folder called test data. Inside that, I created a folder called user data. So if you look at my test step, I say register a user. I said, okay, use the username less than 15 characters. Then see, update the username and password in user data file so it can be used for future test cases. So what happens is you see that my previous test run created a user and it updated with username and password like this. Then in the user login step, I mentioned login as a user in then this file. Yeah. So basically, that is kind of you can parameterize the values instead of putting it in the test scripts. You can mention that even you can find see whether you can use Excel and other formats, CSV formats maybe, and use them in the test scripts. And even as I mentioned, if you have any common steps which are used in test cases, you can use them before and after each. Previously and at the end. And even you can create some common steps in between. A common step for each test case. You can add common test cases section and refer. Specifically refer third step, run this specific test case in between. So you don't need to kind of mention the same test case steps in each test case. Instead, you can use it as a shared steps. You can have a shared step section and refer them in test case. It has the ability.
Right. Thanks, Tharindra. So we are receiving more and more questions, and Hasit is also answering them. Thank you, Hasit, by the way. So the next question is, I'll try to combine a couple of questions. So Tharindra, do you have any experience with connecting the MCP with the test case management systems like TestRail or Jira? And is there any possibility to connect it with the CI pipeline so that we can include them in the CI pipeline if we can execute it through the command line?
Yeah, so that is the next thing I was experimenting. I can see or can use basically now as when it comes to the real scenario, you can't always run this in prompts and kind of let it happen. As an example, when you deploy, you want to run test cases automatically like a pipeline or something as a last step. So my next step is to find how that can be done. So with the help of Hasit, we are trying to check whether Codex or some other tool how we can use to kind of automate that part. That is, I would say from here, it's kind of I'm still researching on that.
Right. Another question. I think you already covered this a little bit, but yeah, the question is on, can MCP Playwright run and execute the boundary value testing about the invalid input range, for example, how you can test it?
Yeah, that I had a specific test case for invalid scenarios. So you can specifically say these are my scenarios, basically allowed values, maximum this one. And so then what the Playwright MCP will do is it will put, as an example, I have mentioned minimum 4. So it will put minimum 3 and try the error message. So it always go for all the boundaries and check it. So you just need to mention these are my boundaries, check whether those are working. So then it will use test data to check that and run it.
Right. I think we pretty much covered all the questions. Yeah. Yep. I think we covered all the questions. So I think we can wrap up the session, Tharindra. So once again, thank you for sharing your insights, thoughts, and demonstrating how we can level up the test automation using the Playwright MCP. And also thank you very much for our wonderful audience for the engagement and all these questions. And looking forward to see you at our next webinar. Thank you very much.